Magnus, come to us! As I free my blood, we free you from your prison. Taste of this and drink, and tear apart your chains. We call you Ophragnos. We summon you. We invoke your presence. We break the prison bones. We break the walls.
Curse it all. The testament was cleverer than I gave them credit for. From the look of things, this door will only open if someone is standing on the switch back there. We don't have time to break down the door. Someone is going to have to stay behind to keep this open. Very well. You have to keep going and stop for Agnes before it is too late. I will be fine, truly.
still standing, and Feragnos has fallen. We struck a mighty blow here, Dreg, but the Testament's still out there, planning more atrocities, more murder. They won't try resurrecting this thing again, not under my eye. Now I'm getting out of here. It's calmed down somewhat, but that tomb of Feragnos is a beacon to the Testament. Don't know if there will ever be true peace.
It was an honor to fight by your side against Feragnos, and now we never will need fear his return. The Olmain, she's fair to look at to be sure, but I'd wager it's safer to take a greatsword into your bed than her. I don't know what the future holds for the Marchers, but it's my duty to make sure that Feragnos never gets another chance.
Not a word of the test.
Looks like I'm in luck. Didn't expect to see so heavily armed an adventurer wandering into our camp. Are you interested in a job? I've got a fey beast situation I need taken care of. Excellent. A pack of wild fey have holed up at the Canyon Hill site at the top of the ledge. I've already dispatched a scholar to investigate, but he hasn't returned. You'll find him near the road towards the mine. I'll have more information for you there, but it isn't useful for much else. The coward refuses to go near the Fae. Get to the site and figure out why those blasted things have come out of the mine, and then get rid of them. Speak to the scholar when the deed is done. He'll pay you. Oh, where are my manners? Foreman Vire at your service. This here is Motus Mining's latest outfit, and my care and charge. They were our biggest competition, and they discovered this site, actually. When we caught wind of it, we made sure to get up here with a bag of gold for each of his workers. So they promised to work for us instead, of course. Work like a charm. Poor Edgar Edder never found a way to recover from that. There's no one else to run his mine. He probably couldn't find the money to pay them even if he found new staff. If I sound proud of us, it's 'cause I am. It was a big victory for Motus. I've seen some strange things. Flickers and flashes from the top of that mountain. No idea what causes it, and I don't want none. We've got our hands full down here as it is. He's a weak-eyed, knock-kneed, biscuit-biting excuse for a scholar. But he's the one I've got, so that's that. A forsaken, wretched wasteland with more beasts than grains of sand. Still, by the domes of Odessa, I'll not see this venture fail. If it weren't for the beast lurking at our doorstep every day, I'd find this place quaint. As it is, I can barely retain my sanity. Capstan Odvar runs an inn and serves as our chief of security. I've received reports of strange happenings in those caverns. One of the workers claimed he saw horrifically scarred men wandering near Saltwell Mouth. Our scholar in, sir. He ought to be back. If you do see him, give him a kick for me and tell him to get on with it. They're cowards, the whole lot of them. They came scurrying back, complaining about the passage to Canyon Hill site, blocked by Fae. Now they won't go near the eastern ledge and me without a single Praetorian to deal with them. Good eve. I'm not sure what...
You look well armed. Aren't you here about the Krulak? We have a vicious one on our hands. It's about the desert, killing any workers it can catch. How in blazes it developed a taste for gnome flesh, only that damn thing knows. Confound it. Between the Canyon Hill incident and that beast, our schedule's ground to a halt. They were the first mining operation here in the Hollowlands. Foreman by the name of Edgar Aaron. Rumor has it he spent every coin he had building his mine. When Motus moved in, they waved bags of gold in the faces of Aaron's workers. The next day, they all jumped ship. It's tragic, but it's business. We don't know where it got a taste for the gnome miners, but it's been terrorizing the Dunehead mine. Motus is offering a considerable bounty for its demise. Once word got out that Edgar Aaron had found this mineral-rich site, Motus rushed to get an operation set up here. I'm all the muscle they bothered to send. I'm the lone guard Motus hired to protect this place. They've given me a Chief of Security title, but that means nothing when I've got no men to command. Now we've got a Croddock that's more than a match for a small army. I know better than to go out there alone. No one knows what's at the top of Cloudcrest, but that don't stop folks speculating. I've heard the first Fae set foot in Amalur came from there. That'd explain why there are so many of them in Detir. Know it as well as my own calloused hand. That's why they pay me good gold to sit here. You won't find much on the surface here, but trapped below is the salvation of Odessa's future. We've the raw materials under our feet to equip entire armies, and that's why you'll find Motus Mining and, such as it is, Aaron Excavations digging here. I've heard the rumors. They might be saints or bastards, but they've coin to spare, and that's enough for me. Canyon Hill is up the eastern ledge. That's the one that spooked the miners. The Dunehead operation's hardly begun thanks to a vicious Croddock. We don't have separate rooms, but we've got beds upstairs. It'll cost you, though. We're the closest thing to an inn for leagues around us. I've heard bizarre tales about those caves. The workers swear they've seen ghastly men, ravaged by some plague or foul magic, pacing round the entrances. You got the picture. Don't know how the damned old thing got a taste for him, but once it gets an idea, there's no stopping it. We've put a price on its hide, but who'd be crazy enough to earn it? Well, you sure? All right, it's your funeral. You should speak to Edgar Aaron of Aaron Excavations. He'll know how to find Bloodbane. Edgar's lived in the Hollowlands longer than any of us. He's the foreman of the other mine here. He knows a thing or two about the Hollowlands. Been surveying this place long before Motus moved in. He ran Aaron Excavations until Motus hired his workers out from under him. It's tough, but that's business. I'm not sure what he's up to these days, but he hasn't left. Aaron Excavations? They're the other mining operation in the Hollowlands. Motus's only competition. Not particularly stiff competition, mind you. Especially since Motus wooed all of Aaron's miners with much higher wages. You look like you can take care of yourself, but you should be careful out there.
There's no work here for you, stranger. Check with Motus if you're looking for a job. You'll not find one with us. Capstan sent you my way, did he? Yes, I'm familiar with old Bloodbane. This Croddock is extremely protective of a particular pack of brownies. The surest way to draw it out of hiding is to attack those brownies. They help Bloodbane hunt, you see. I'll mark their territory on your map for you. Good luck. No one's been able to best the creature yet, and it would be unfortunate if you didn't make it back. I've lived in the Hollowlands for a time, seen lights and heard rumbles from the top that could have been the world's quietest storm, or very powerful magic. Mark my words, there's something happening up there. I've spent a lot of time here in the Hollowlands, living off the soil and the wildlife. I thought I'd finally made a living for myself when I discovered the mineral deposits here. Not sure what I'll do now that Motus has stolen my workers, but I'll think of something. Motus will get theirs someday. They call themselves a mining operation. They're more like a thieves' den. I was in the Hollowlands long before they ever set up shop. Once they got settled, they offered better wages to my workers. Every single one of them is working for Motus now. I couldn't compete with that kind of money. I had a small army of gnomes to help me with the mine. Spent a lot of money transporting them here and gave them a good living. And the miserable bastards have the gall to leave me for Motus.
The land flourished under her gentle plumes. As life returned to the burnt expanse, the people crawled from their caves and saw a majestic silhouette against the open sky. They praised Saina and worshipped her likeness. She replied with a caw that still echoes on the wind.
I watch them day by day, their foolish, meddling scampering to separate one piece of earth from a slightly different piece of earth. Fae know that the land will endure, will heal any wounds mortals can inflict. But I worry that these wounds may be long to heal. I cannot act, I am bound by our beliefs. But an agent of change could cauterize these wounds by making the century plants bloom. Have you met her? Fair and dark as the night itself. She will sleep until my time is past. Then I will lie down and dream while she walks the sands. I shepherd the surface while Orenda sleeps beneath. I await the day when I may lay down to rest as Orenda does, beneath the sands. The mortal's growing influence in this world wearies me. Normally they blossom only every 100 years. The land stirs and wakens, and what was worn away rejuvenates. That is the way of things. In ages past, we danced in circles on the dunes and sang sweet songs to the distant peaks. Now I alone walk here, while Orenda dreams in reverie below. The little mortals, you mean? Forever cutting, clearing, digging, will they never stop? Won't they tire of it and go away? Oh, I cannot make them bloom, not now. When the time is right, one Fae whisper will do. You mortals are not bound as we are. You can grow such things out of season. You wouldn't know with these little mortals here, but these lands are a Fae place, and Fae places need refreshing from time to time. The blooming of the century plants is the fastest route of recovery. The century plants have deep ties to the pulse and marrow of the land. Their breath wakens the desert, causes the rocks to stir and grow. A friend of the sands, you'll do what needs doing. You will need petrichor. Here's a skinful I have gathered. But first, you must ready the plant with fire. Only after fire will they drink the petrichor. There are 3 century plants in this land just now. Make all 3 bloom, and all will be well. The smell of the earth after rain. I have gathered it over years in that skin. For each of the 3 upon the sands, scorch it with fire, then sleek it with the petric for now, then.
I've been hoping you'd come by. The miners report no sight or sound of Bloodbane since you ventured out into the desert. That means they can start work on the Dunehead site, and that you've earned your pay. Thank you for ridding us of that menace. If you hadn't happened along, who knows where we'd be? In whatever that thing calls a stomach, I suppose. You're welcome here any time, friend. Though there's not much to do but swing a pick at rocks. Aaron Excavations. They're the other mining outfit in the Hollowlands. Our only competition. You look like you can take care of it.
Name's Alec. I'll get it back to you as good as new. Take care on the sides.
I was...
Oh, I'm in a terrible bind. I don't dare go forward, and I certainly can't go back. Mind you, I wouldn't go up that eastern ledge. It's most unsafe. Oh yes, our stalwart foreman. He sent you after me, I suppose. It's a place of mystery and intrigue. No one knows what lurks at the top, though everyone's got a guess. Scholar of mineralogy, Motus Mining, and unwitting adventurer. A pleasure to make your acquaintance, I'm sure. Edessa could not have been built without the Motus mining interest. I've heard tales of terrifyingly scarred men appearing at the entrance of the caverns from time to time. I don't care why they're there, I just don't want them anywhere near me. Yes, well, no. I got 10 paces up the slope when I spotted those Fae. What's a scholar to do against hordes of vicious beasts? One of those boggarts, it shook its fist at me. Yes, and find out what's wrong, now that I've found it, and have no desire to investigate further. There were boggarts, lots of boggarts, and I think I saw a thresh. I was rather too busy running to note the particulars. Well, if you were willing to go first, I would have no objection to trailing behind at a safe distance. Lead the way. Up the slope we go.
come to steal the light, come to trouble the reverie. I long to return to the reverie. While Calavar walks the sands, I must sleep. He and I are two where there once were many. We lived then wild on dune and crag. Now he watches the waking day, and I tend to the dreaming murmurs of the stone. When I became aware the light was gone, the shell of the reverie cracked, and my dream self wandered free. Long, long ago, I wandered lost in the dark of night. I cried a pool into a rocky basin, and starlight gathered there. I fashioned this into a jewel, and by its light found my way home. Is it any wonder that I hold it so dear? They are my friends, drawn here as I drift between the dream world and the world of the waking. The light, source of solace, snuck in, sharp knives, soft feet, stole the jewel from my side, took it northward through the narrow rocks to their village of wood and cloth.
It's beginning to make sense. This Fey maiden is real, but I believe we're speaking to a projection of her as she dreams. There is a Fey hollow under this mine, where I'll wager she sleeps. And these other Fey, they're drawn to the power of this projection. Restoring to her this light she speaks of might calm things down. Find me at the Motus mining office when you return it to her. I'll make sure you're duly compensated. No, I feel quite certain. The maiden we see here is a projection of her dream self, and these other wild Fey are most likely return what was stolen to...
The light! Return to me! Did you do this? The blessings of the thorn and shadow be upon your head, little mortal. Now leave me to the reverie, and the deep shadow and the far wind sighs. I long to return to the reverie. While Calavar walks the sands, I must sleep. This is home, the place of power. I can feel the mortal's presence above, chipping away at the land. Calavar will not be pleased. Now I have the light, the reverie will be untroubled. Ah.
I can smell them on the dry winds. Your eyes may not see the natural decay, but I assure you, it is there. The little meddlers may do their worst. The Hollowlands will endure it and mend the wounds they make. For now, then.
A Fey relic, was that it? She called it a light. I wonder what possessed those fools to steal it. No matter. Facts are, without you, I'd still be tugging my beard at the bottom of that slope. So please have this. The interest rewards those who smooth its way. All this caused by a stolen jewel. Remarkable. As I've always said, there's no understanding Fey. All the same, we ought to have known we were digging right above a Fey hollow. Didn't seem important at the time, I suppose. Foreman Vire? Head harder than a rock, and emptier than a mined-out stope. Goodbye.
Oh, thank goodness you're here. It's my miners. They've gone deranged. Bless my beard. Just as both sites were coming back to full operation, the lunatics fled out into the desert. I tried to stop one of them and saw nothing but a blank stare and a strange light behind the fellow's eyes. He looked cursed. This is the work of that Fey, the one who sits atop the hill on the outskirts of town. If you can find that Fey and make him fix this, you'll be duly compensated. Damn right. There's no other explanation. He calls himself Calavar. Polite enough fellow, I suppose, but I've never trusted him. When we first got this operation up and running, he'd appear out of the sands every once in a while and try to convince us to move out. It's so obvious now. I'll bet he was behind the other problems as well. The Crudock, the attack on Canyon Hill, all of it reeks of Fey magic. Calavar watches the mine from his perch on the hill to the south. You'll find him there. Well, the Canyon Hill site's underway thanks to you. But for every step in this place, there's another stone to trip on. Surely you've heard the name. Dug the very stones Odessa was built on, and the gems that power her. They had an ill aura about them as they ran off into the desert. What they were running from, I don't know. None of them made any sense. They were just yelling, saying things that weren't there. Nothing is going right.
What are you here for, mortal? I'll not suffer another child of dust. I've had enough of your lot. Especially those of you calling yourselves Edgar Arryn. I lent him my relic when he asked for help extracting resources from the ground. I believed I was aiding a friend. But Edgar Arryn deviated from his purpose. The plight of Orenda and the attack of the Crudock on the mortal camp perplexed me. I know now that Edgar caused them with my relic. If you wish to free the mortals from their predicament, You must seek out Edgar Arryn and take back the relic. With it in hand, speak to the miners to break the spell. The Marshal and I made a verbal contract. I would give him use of my light to help him clear the wild fae from his mine. In return, he agreed to gather his resources with my relic rather than the little mortal's methods, ripping and tearing at the land. He has instead shown his true quality, and now your miners are scattered to the winds. I have heard mortals refer to it as a stone or a jewel. Vast oversimplifications, as children of dust are wont to make. It is my light, as Orenda's lantern is hers. Edgar Arryn asked to borrow my relic to use in his mine, to draw the minerals the mortals find so valuable. I thought him worthy of friendship, and thus gave it to him. Alas, he has deviated from his purpose. He has fled to his mine. If you truly wish to save the little mortals wandering the sands, you must retrieve my relic from him. You would do well to bring it back to me as well, when you have claimed it. It is a powerful relic, and could do much harm in the wrong hands. For now, then.
You found me, stranger. Been speaking to Calavar, have you? You've been putting out fires for motors all over the place, I hear. What can I do for you this time? You've spoken to the Fae, I presume. I thought I saw you scaling that cliff. He wasn't lying. I wanted motors gone. But I never meant to take it this far. If he'd just packed up his damn operation, nobody would have been harmed. I did. With this little stone Calavar gave me. Simply thinking a thing makes a wild fae do it. Unfortunately, I couldn't keep old Bloodbane from falling for your brownie bait. Calavar told me all about it, and how detrimental it would be if it were taken. Then I just had to tell a couple of gullible cutthroats about this incredibly valuable fae relic buried in Shadowthorn Hollow. Perhaps there is merit in cooperating with you. You kill Croddock and spelunk Fae Hollows for a living, after all. But if Motus doesn't leave the Hollowlands, I'm finished. There's no turning back for me. Kill this pest, boys! No, please spare me. I was just trying to make a living here. Success should have been mine. I started my operation long before Motus ever arrived. My workers have abandoned me, and I haven't made a single coin from this place. This was all I could do to reclaim what once belonged to me. You understand, don't you? Fine, it's yours. Damn thing never did me any good anyway. I'm sure the Odessan Praetorians won't be far behind me now that the word's out. I won't be here when you return.
By the moon, where are these gazelles coming from? What was I saying?
Reginald, what do we do? The house is aflame! The house is aflame! What? Oh, where is this? By my beard, how did I get so far into the desert? Where do you think you're going with my pickaxe, you wretch? No. Where is this? I promise this is the last time I partake in Detrian ale.
I've never noticed how close the ground is to the sky. I mean, I do now. It's a mistake I'll never make again. Wait, what was I saying? Oh, dear me, I have to go.
I could swear there was a lake here a moment ago. What? What happened? What in blazes is this?
Well, it looks like everyone's back or on their way. We're in your debt once more. Edgar's facilities are vacant now. They're yours if you want them. They were never particularly profitable once his miners left him. But in the right hands, a few of the miners feel so indebted to you, they'd like to work there for you if you'll have them. You should visit the mine when you have a chance. Good day.
I shall relieve you of the relic. For a mortal, you are remarkable. I can see something lingering in your eyes, something fey. It is both fascinating and perplexing. But, as you mortals say, the dust has settled. This region was on the verge of catastrophe, thanks to Edgar Aaron. It was fortunate you were here to stop him. For now, then.
Welcome. The Motus miners have told me all about you. I'm Vincent Helvarn, Edgar Aaron's former assistant and facilities manager. I'll continue to run the mining office for you, if you'll allow it. Come and go as you please, the building is yours to use. And if it doesn't suit your tastes, with some spare coin, I can arrange for renovations. Yet another place of mystery that I'd rather be much farther away from. The Hollowlands are death trap enough as it is. The Motus miners feel indebted to you. They've offered to work your mine, for a sliver of your overall profit, of course. Beastly creatures stalk near those caverns. They're not fey, and they're definitely not natural. You could pay me enough to get close to there. I wish it were somewhere far from here. The Hollowlands are dangerous enough without them. I locked myself in here while Edgar was hatching his schemes. I knew it would come to violence at some point. He was hell-bent on getting even with Motus. Anyhow, what's past is past. You need a manager for this building while you're away, and I'll do it for a small fraction of what you earn. Speak to me if you want work done on this building, or if you'd like to collect a profit. If you have enough gold, I can clean this place up and furnish it with goods from across the land. I'll get right to work. It'll look brand new before you know it. I can't believe old Edgar had been causing all this trouble in the air. With a bit more gold, we can improve the facilities even more. Time to get to work. How goes the splunking? For a tad bit more gold, I can add on another room for more storage space and furnishings that'll make an emperor drool. It'll be ready in no time. When we're done, you'll own the finest building in all the Hollowlands. Hail, friend! The gnomes at Modus Mining mentioned you'd be opening a mining site here. That's all well and good, but I can help you make the most of it. For a small sum, I'll renovate this mine for you, make it bigger. In the long run, you'll earn more money out of it. What do you say? That's me, Master Architect at your service. Your friends at Modus Mining sent word to me that they were helping you open a site here. For a little bit of gold, I'll help you get this dump running more efficiently than Edgar Aaron ever managed to. No one I know of has scaled it all the way, so there's no knowing for sure what's up there. Heard everything, from it's the home of a powerful mage, to it's the cradle of civilization itself. Sometimes in the same breath. There's an adventure to be had at Cloudcrest's Peak, I'm sure. There are bad goings on at the caverns. The miners have all, one time or another, seen wretched, scarred creatures that walk on two legs pacing at the entrance. If you give me the gold, I can start clearing out one of the collapsed passages in the mine. I'll start cleaning out the passage right away. Who knows what we'll uncover in there? I can't believe Edgar put the miners through that. There's no excuse for it. Motus's business practices aside, he had no right. Thank you for righting his transgressions. For another bit of gold, I can clear out the next section. We'll have this place... boss. Do you need me to do any work on the mine? Just a little more gold and we can open up. This will be about all we can extend the mine. We've run out of room in the cavern.
What is it? You! You are my contact. I should have known. Punctuality is not one of your people's strengths, and you have so few. Edessa is the greatest bastion of knowledge and understanding in the world. Alfar have their arts, mankind has its gods, but our only commandments are the solid, predictable laws of natural science. His knowledge is invaluable, and must not fall into the wrong hands. And I'm terribly worried about your safety too, of course. That goes without saying. As Templar, the Forum demands that I do everything in my power to advance our knowledge. It is a tremendous responsibility, and one I take quite seriously. Formerus Hughes is one of my most brilliant scholars, and as you know, his research shows tremendous potential. His recovery is of paramount importance. My fellow Templars and I sponsor research that will lead to the betterment of all mortals. Sadly, Alfar and man alike often have trouble accepting the reason behind our decisions. But most gnomes realize we have their best interests in mind. You may recall our mutual friend, Formerus Hughes. The gnome who brought you back to life? I suspect you would, but I gather you've been quite busy. Well, Scholar Hughes has been missing since the attack on his tower. As his patron, I am quite concerned. I want you to find him. You are, how shall I say, uniquely suited to the task. I could ask the same question. For all I know, Formerus Hughes is on the run from you. I am willing to assume that's not the case. Simply put, you may be my only chance of locating Hughes. Just as I may be yours. Don't be obtuse. I am his patron. As such, I own everything that Scholar Hughes produces. I suppose that includes you as well. The secrets in his laboratories are meant for gnome eyes only. They must be controlled. At any cost. It would seem the incident at Alistar made Scholar Hughes a touch paranoid. Every time we receive a clue about his location, he vanishes before I can reach him. But he's running out of places to hide. It's my opinion that there's one hope left of finding Hughes. You. And I'm grateful. Scholar Hughes is quite fortunate to have friends like us. Hughes has an old laboratory in the cavern of Saltwell Mines. I believe he's been conducting research there since the destruction of Alistar Tower. Find him, and you will be rewarded for your contribution to science. I will await your success in the Librarium in Edessa.
What is it? Don't bother me.
have I been down here so long? Is the madness so great that I see the faces of the damned before me? Or is it really you? It is! By the tome! Come closer. Let me look at you. It has been an eternity since I've seen a trusted face. Are you? In many ways, your awakening has brought me nothing but misery. But that is not your fault. I am to blame for all of it. Wait. Do you hear that sound? It could be the Sons of Laz, but it could be someone else.
Down you go!
The last we spoke, it was the Tuatha that reduced my lab to cinders. Now it's assassins. Everywhere I go, destruction follows. I have grown so weary of it, my friend. All I ever wanted was to unlock death's secrets, to shed light on the shadows. I never wanted this. Thank you for more than just your protection, for being the one good thing to come of this disaster. I have few friends, but I gladly count you among them. You must be mistaken. I've tried to contact him ever since I fled Alistar, but he never replied. Until now. Octien. Of course. When all the facts are considered, the truth will emerge. Ah, I am a fool! Octien has sent you to search for me. To have us killed together. Those assassins are proof of this. The Well of Souls is his project. Once it was functioning, he no longer needed me. Not if he could salvage the well in Alistar with Ventrinio's help. Ventrinio de Cellini. We used to work together in this lab on projects sponsored by Templar Octien. But when we were tasked with creating the well, Ventrinio sought to use any means at our disposal, regardless of the implications or consequences. Eventually, he was taken away, and I was sent to work at Alistar. But it seems he continued his work here. Long enough to create those monsters. They are the animated dead. Early experiments in the field of immortality. They will forever haunt these cursed caverns. Ventrinio named them after a mythical figure who rose from the dead. He looked on them and saw potential. I see only abominations. No, not me. But Ventrinio's old notes suggest that he may know a way into Alabastra. I wonder, perhaps, is it possible that you have met Ventrinio already? That would explain it. You were attuned to his well, but raised from mine. Unfortunately, the only way to find Ventrinio is to go through Templar Octien, which will not be easy now that we know of his treachery. Octien is a powerful sorcerer with tremendous influence. If you attacked him outright, you would lose all credibility. We must play his game. The only one capable of dealing with Octien in Edessa will be another Templar. Luckily, we have one. Her name is Templar Joriel, and she is reputed for her wisdom and strength of character. She and Octien rarely see eye to eye on matters of policy. If Joriel can make Octien answer for his crimes, then we will gain access to his information. That includes the location of Ventrinio's lab. If you wish to uncover the mystery of your death, then you will need Ventrinio. He is the key to Alabastra. Find Templar Joriel in Edessa. We don't have much evidence, but I have a feeling she will help us. Ah, Edessa. The great gnomish city-state. Knowledge, reason, and logic rule there, as do bureaucracy and intrigue. A clever gnome can go far in that city, and a wise gnome goes far away from it. It's everything I've been able to put together concerning Templar Octien's crimes, with supporting evidence from Ventrinio's notes and correspondence. I always suspected I might need leverage over Octien. It seems Ventrinio felt the same. You must remember to thank him for me. I am Fomerus Hughes, scholar of vivification, prime circle. The Well of Souls was my life's work. I knew Octien was more interested in my research than he was in my well-being, but I didn't expect him to send assassins. At least not so soon. Now that he has the Well and Ventrinio, he'll have access to eternal life all for himself. And who knows what other magical protections he's collected over the decades. He thinks he's won, but we know his dirty little secrets. And believe it or not, that means we've got the real power. The Templars rule from the Forum, and you can't get a thing done in the city without the sponsorship of one of them. They can be powerful allies, but the one thing you don't want to do is get on their bad side. My old colleague, Ventrinio Desilini. For a time we worked together under Templar Octien. He was a brilliant scholar, but a terrible person. I told Octien he couldn't be trusted and refused to work with him, but it appears the Templars simply moved him to another lab with some mysterious assistant. Ventrinio's notes reference some highly capable assistant that joined him in testing the well and collecting Prismia, but there's no mention of their identity. Whoever they are, they're clever, resourceful, and very dangerous. If we could find them, we might have a lead, or even a way into Alabastra. Oh, don't call it that. You're just having a talk with Octien in the library. In return for your discretion, he'll give us what we want. I know it's unpleasant, but when you work with the Templars, you just start thinking this way. It helps you stay alive.
Greeting! What, you surely ask, is such a well-heeled Praetorian doing here among the dust and brambles? Removing the tarnish for my name and solving the Jotun problem. Grand to behold, but lousy with Jotun and spiders and gods know what else. Makes me think the Warsworn put their blasted keep here out of sheer bloody spite. Overlooked. Ignored. Once I've settled this Jotun problem, my Praetorian friends will be humming a different tune. I am, you see, ranked Decanus. That is above Auxiliary, where I serve my time, and beneath Centurion, which is where I belong. Their keep is hard to miss. It sits on Menethir like an Etin on a pile of bones. The old Ragnar has died, and his successor is stirring the embers of war. But he's too clever to openly provoke the Warsworn, so he's attacking gnomes instead. That will not stand. I have a plan to settle this, but it requires someone of both delicacy and grit. Priest, apothecary, and spiritual guide to Jotunkind. The old Ragnar ruled all the Jotun in these heights and the mountains beyond. If this upstart stirs all of them to war, things could go badly for everyone. Yes, I think you do. First, we must find some new and better enemies for the Jotun. Go into Tyrskotter Mine, southeast of here, and steal the clan totem from the kobolds that dwell there. Then return to me. To reclaim it, the kobolds will fight to the death, and as for the Jotun, well, one thing at a time. There's a good deal to be said about them. None of it nice. You hear tales now and then of Jotun guards and Jotun soldiers. I'll believe that when I see it. Brutes! Tyrskotter Mine is full of the little filchers. If you ask me, they're worse than the Jotun. It seems the old Ragnar had some wisdom in that slab of a skull. Kept a shrewd balance between infighting and angering his neighbors. But now he's dead, and the new Ragnar fancies the warpath. But that won't be good for anyone. We'll never know if the mine collapsed because of the kobolds, or if the kobolds got in because of the collapse. Either way, it's theirs now. Normally, I'd advise you to take a leap off that ledge, but at the moment, I find myself in need of aid. Don't think you'll get anything out of it, though. I certainly won't teach you anything. An old man who's had his fill of the world. It possesses a certain remarkable beauty that is hard to appreciate with a wounded leg. Off in the southeast among the hills, overrun now with those spear-hefting overgrown cats. I'd keep my distance if I were you. Once in a while, some fool comes to plead on bended knee for lessons. Bah! If you don't know, there's no use telling it. Damned kobolds is what. Poison spear to my leg and it's begun to fester. There are things for it, easy to gather myself. If I could walk. Foul stuff. I never touch it. The natural course of healing's best, if you ask me. I'd be grateful, but don't expect any wisdom or a fine-crafted gift. Hermits have little to give. I'll need spider-sack ichor, fenrack from the canyon below, and grist from a Jotun's cookpot. Can you get me those? Before the gnomes opened up that damned mine, wasn't a single one in Menethir. Meddlers, that's what they are. Always think they know best, but they never do. Believe me.
That day, the carver woke to find his touch run dry, the wellspring of his power dead as dust at the source. He heard then the first whisper, the first mention. Mortals.
Ah, you have the totem. Good. We've made some enemies, so now we must make the feeling mutual. Kill 3 Jotun chieftains known as the Ragnar's Chosen. Their deaths will enrage the Ragnar like nothing else. After killing each of the Chosen, plant one of these kobold daggers in his chest. That should do the trick. Look! It begins! You're part of that madness on the ledge below. On with you. I'll have no part in that. No, but another hour won't make any difference. Go on, get those gnomes off my ledge. If you must, come back when you're done. And here, you see, it all falls beautifully into place. The kobolds will come for their totem. And this new Ragnar will see a challenge that he cannot ignore, and a battle he'll think he can win. Of course, neither he nor any will survive it. Well, there may be a victor for a moment or two, but in the end, I will be the only winner, you will see. To reclaim it, the kobolds will fight to the death. To a Jotun, it's no more than a banner. But a banner planted in their ground is a challenge, and Jotun are proud creatures. Meet me on the height above 2 palms. All have lost, but we have won thanks to my genius and your hard work. You have earned your reward. Have this. As for me, I have earned a trip to Odessa and, surely, Centurion rank. If you haven't already, you should visit our grand city. It's a sight to behold. Soon to be a memory. It's back to Odessa for me and my fine auxiliaries here. I've single-handedly squashed a Jotun warpath. Of course, that single hand was you, but why quibble? They'll have to grant me Centurion rank now. About bloody time. Spider gland for the festering, Fenrak for the pain, and Stugris to keep my strength up. You've done me a good turn, stranger. I live a hermit's life, so have little to give. I hope you'll take this as thanks. You'll get nothing else. What a great and austere beauty it holds. A beauty best enjoyed alone. Once in a while, some fool comes to plead on bended knee for lessons. Bah! If you don't know, there's no use telling it.
Well, well, well. Never seen your face before. Can't say I like it. Listen up, Dogface. There are 2 rules in Bone Town. Number 1. Mayor Eswin's law is absolute. Number 2, if you don't like rule number 1, then you'd better get your ass out of town. Now go meet the mayor yourself. He likes to know what the kobolds kick in from the wastes, especially with the families running wild. Listen to that. You're fitting in pretty well already. I'll see you around Whitestone, Dogface. He's a dangerous man, and he'll stop at nothing to bring ruin to Whitestone. Luckily, the mayor knows how to deal with crooks like Scoria. Miners. And they used to make a good living too, back when Modus Mining had its teeth in Apatia. But when Modus pulled out, the money dried up. Now most of them are criminals. A nasty lot. The Zungars are the worst. But the Darkvari and the Sinrig know Liana's dance as well. There's plenty of them. Just ask Kara, or walk a few paces out of Whitestone in any direction. Sometimes they even come into town. A few weeks ago, I caught a bandit trying to slip into the mayor's window. Fool. He's been locked up in a cage ever since. As an example. Simpestiliana was first sworn. They called her the Desert Runner, and you do well to learn her ways out here. He's not from around here. A city boy born and raised in Myria. Came to seek fortune, but landed in Apatia right when Modus Mining caught their losses. You'd think he'd wither in this desert, but it was his idea to bring in the mercenaries. With Mayor Eswin in Whitestone, we have a fighting chance. People call it Bone Town because of the pale rocks jutting up from the sand. And because of the death rate.
Look at that.
Good day. You're probably wondering what I'm doing here. Well, if you're fond of a good story, lend me your ear. I won't disappoint. I'll try to keep it short, even though I've got all the time in the world for embellishment. Sinriks, Darkvari, Zungars, and Scorias, all bastards. Not half as bad as these guards. They can't catch all of us, and we can't kill all of them. I am no one of consequence, something the guards in Whitestone failed to realize. However, if you ask my father, he'd take my side. I'm a complete disappointment. Look, I'm in a cage in the middle of this town. What do you want me to say? I'm not really in a good position to talk about it right now. What did I do? Nothing. I just happened to bear the name Darkvari, a crime in upper tier in these trying times. The mayor's blade seized me at the gates of Edessa. Here's the trick of it. I was leaving home, slipping free of my familial bondage. I'm no thug. I am guilty of but one crime only. Stealing a girl's heart. Her name is Hrindi Zungar, and at this very moment she waits for me with no word of my whereabouts. Please, stranger, will you help me? She is the sun that comes to warm me every morning. We met a short time ago, mere weeks, but true love has no memory of time. Yes, Zungars and Darkvari aren't exactly kin. In fact, they're sworn enemies and rivals. Imagine how powerful they'd be if they shared blood instead of spilled it. I knew I liked you, from the moment I laid eyes on you through these enormous iron bars. Getting the key won't be easy. Bjorn, the head of their mercenaries, carries it on his person. I wouldn't want to be the one who has to rifle through his pockets. I care not for stale poison. I doubt the Zungars and Darkvari even know why they're angry. It's an old hatred, old as the red stone. Hrindi and I want none of it. I've promised to rescue Hrindi from her family's life of corruption. She deserves more than a shack along the snake tail. She deserves Sky Blossom, whispers. I've been in this cage for weeks, but Hrindi will wait. We swore an oath to each other. Well done. Now, you've done me this one favor. Let's finish what we've started. Before I can leave this cursed desert, I need several things. First, I need to fetch the item that will finance our new life in Odessa, our nest egg. It is an heirloom that has been in the Darkvari family for generations. Then I need you to find Hrindi and bring her to me at our old meeting place in Snaketail Canyon. Please, you must do this for me. For us. Thank you.
Keep your eyes open.
Stand right there. Let me take a look at you. Filthy, weary, lonely, but special, that's for certain. We don't see folks like you in Whitestone very often. I'm Mayor Eswin Elfhelm, and I'm the closest thing to a friend you've got around here. An obstacle in the way of progress. The old man still believes that Apotia could come back from its decline by force of will. Typical of a miner. Keeps digging away. There are 4 mining families. The Darkvari, the Sinriks, Zungars, and the Scorias. When the gnomes departed, so did the jobs. There was nothing for the miners left behind. Starvation, desperation, well, they change people. Most of the miners in Apotia kept their sanity, even when they lost everything else. But the others, they turned to banditry. The usual: theft, kidnapping, murder. You'd best stick close to Whitestone. You're an easy target. The Sinrik boys think this is a game. They're laughing now, but we'll see how they like the taste of their own ruthlessness. They're the second oldest family in Apotia, and they're headed for a prison, or the graveyard. The Darkvari were hit hardest by Modus's relocation. The young men and women watched the elders and children waste away. Now they're all that's left. Sad story, isn't it? Doesn't excuse their lawlessness. Once the Terrenium ran out, they moved on. Gnomes don't care for the welfare of other races. They're hoping we'll kill each other off, save them the trouble. My given name is Eswin Elfhelm, but people around here call me Mayor Eswin. They're simple people, that's why I like them. I grew up in the old main city of Myria, west of here. I'd never worked a full day in my life. I'm certainly making up for it now. I sleep 1-2 hours a night. Terrenium. It's the only reason the gnomes ever graced it here with their presence. Normally they'd find the climate too dry. They like their beards curly. Modus Mining settled Whitestone, built all the mines and relocated the families. Once they'd taken what they came for, they vanished almost overnight. Disgraceful. My home. A lifetime ago, it seems. The port was nice. The smell of fish near the harbor was offensive. You'd have a hard time finding anything that resembles Myria here in Detir. Liars, thieves, and scum. Let's hope they never take control of Apotia. This little town was the heart of the boom, the engine that drove the rise of Odessa. But in business, every boom is followed by the eventual bust. The gnomes moved out. With the gnomes went the gold, and with the gold went the jobs. Whitestone has been a shell of itself since. But I seek to change all that. It would take quite a bit to convince me the Zongars weren't criminals from the start. It's probably no surprise the worst miners of Apotia make the best brigands. Some call it war. I call it survival. The Modus mining interest left an empty throne when it abandoned Apotia, and now everyone wants that power. The people here, the decent, honest, hard-working people of Apotia, have been through enough. Starvation, humiliation. They needed a leader, one who cares. My goals are simple. To stop the warring in Whitestone, and to rescue it from the brink of extinction. And you can help me. What do you say? Partners? I like you. You're not a fool. Want to know what you're getting into? Well, I think big, but I'm smart enough to start small. I need a person who can do both. I want you to acquire something for me. Something that rightfully belongs to me. There's a man named Adolf Scoria, patriarch of the most prominent mining family in Apotir. Months ago, I bought his family mine. It wasn't cheap. Now Adolf refuses to surrender the property. In fact, he's gone into hiding and won't meet with me. I need you to acquire what is legally mine. The deed to his claim. Modus Mining stored all the records in its old headquarters east of the village. But the building has long since been overrun. Get that deed, and we're in business.
Mind yourself.
Hello. You don't know me, but I've been following you. My name's Hrindi. That parchment you carry, it belongs to me, as Steg always meant it to be a wedding gift. Now, if you please, hand it over. You heard it right. There's no love lost between the families of Darkvari and Zungar. But show me a close family in Apotir, and I'll show you a gnome with a conscience. What about him? I've met hundreds of men more to my liking. Only, those men didn't have what Steg possesses, the Darkvari map. Once I learned Steg had it, I knew I had to act. I was willing to do anything, even marry the idiot. That's right, the fabled treasure map of the Darkvari family. With it, I can build a new life, shed my Zungar name, and start all over again. Don't ever speak my name aloud. I hate hearing it. Zungar. It's the sound of retching, of a man's skull cracking beneath a blow. Every time I hear it, I cringe. Soon I will have a new name to go with my new life. Perhaps I did, but he won't be able to care for me. He can hardly care for himself. Look how easily he was captured. Oh, but perhaps you're right. He doesn't deserve this, not from me. There are few gentle souls left in Apotir. I'd hate to kill the last. I'll face the world alone, then.
You haven't laid eyes on Hrindi, have you? She is bright, graceful, like an oasis on a summer's day. I was sure she would be here. She said the stars themselves wouldn't wait as long as she would. You mean Bone Town? Not my favorite place in the world, if you couldn't tell. If the heat doesn't kill you, the guards might. They're not as bad as some think, but worse than you'd imagine. I have the scars to prove it, unfortunately. What do you mean she's gone? Was her fear too great? Did she choose to stay behind? I had a feeling this would happen. In the end, I couldn't make her happy. That is a lie. You didn't know her as I did. You are a stranger in Apatir. You can keep the parchment. It is a map drafted by my grandfather. It reveals the locations of all Darkvari hordes in Apatir. I don't want it. Not anymore. What good is wealth if the one you meant to share it with is gone? What good is anything?